Have you ever wondered how effective communication can strengthen your relationships? Good relationships thrive on trust, understanding, and emotional connection, all of which start with clear, honest conversations. When you communicate with empathy and active listening, you create a space for mutual growth. By addressing issues with patience and respect and appreciating each other's efforts, you build a foundation that not only resolves conflicts, but also deepens bonds. Relationships are not just about love. They're about continuously learning, adapting, and supporting each other. Effective communication is the foundation of any strong and lasting relationship. It goes far beyond the simple act of exchanging words. It encompasses the ability to listen with full attention, to understand emotions and perspectives, and to respond in a way that fosters trust and connection. Many relationships falter not because of a lack of love, but because of a failure to communicate effectively. When individuals are not heard or understood, frustration builds, leading to emotional distance and unresolved conflicts. Consider a couple arguing about how they spend their free time. One partner may feel neglected, while the other may feel overwhelmed with responsibilities. If they communicate poorly, the discussion can quickly turn into accusations and defensiveness. However, if they approach the conversation with patience and an intent to understand each other's perspectives, they can find a middle ground that strengthens their bond rather than weakens it. Verbal communication is essential in expressing one's needs, desires, and concerns. Choosing words carefully and being mindful of tone can make a significant difference in how a message is received. Saying, "I feel like we don't spend enough time together," is very different from saying, "You never make time for me." The first statement expresses an emotion, inviting discussion, while the second is accusatory and likely to trigger defensiveness. This principle applies to all relationships, whether romantic, familial, or professional. Words have power, and the way they are delivered can either bring two people closer or push them further apart. However, words alone are not enough. Communication also involves nonverbal cues, such as body language, eye contact, and facial expressions, which often reveal more than spoken words. A partner may say they are fine, but if their arms are crossed and they avoid eye contact, it signals that something is wrong. Misinterpreting these nonverbal cues can lead to misunderstandings, which is why being attentive to them is just as important as listening to what is being said. Active listening is a skill that transforms the way individuals engage with each other. It involves not only hearing the words, but also understanding the emotions behind them. Too often, people listen with the intent to respond rather than to understand. Imagine a friend confiding in you about a difficult day at work, and instead of acknowledging their frustration, you immediately offer solutions. While well-intended, this approach can make the other person feel dismissed rather than supported. Instead, reflecting back what they have said, such as, "That sounds really frustrating. I can see why that upset you," validates their feelings and strengthens the connection. A truly effective communicator not only listens actively, but also asks clarifying questions to ensure they understand the full picture before forming a response. Conflict is an inevitable part of any relationship, but it is how it is handled that determines whether it will bring people closer or drive them apart. Poor communication during conflict often leads to blame, criticism, and emotional withdrawal. Imagine a scenario where one partner feels undervalued because they are always the one making plans for date nights. If they say, "You never put in effort," it immediately places the other person on the defensive. However, if they express their feelings using I statements, such as, "I feel unappreciated when I'm always the one planning things," it shifts the conversation towards problem solving rather than argument. Effective conflict resolution requires emotional regulation, meaning that both individuals must recognize when emotions are running high and take a step back if necessary. Pausing a heated discussion and returning to it later when both parties are calm can prevent unnecessary damage caused by words spoken in anger. Another key aspect of healthy communication is expressing appreciation and positive emotions, not just addressing concerns. Many people assume that their partners, friends, or family members know they are loved and valued, but without verbal affirmation, doubts can creep in. A simple, "I appreciate you taking the time to help me today," can reinforce emotional security in a relationship. Likewise, celebrating each other's successes, whether big or small, fosters a sense of partnership and mutual support. When communication is primarily focused on problem solving or conflict, relationships can start to feel strained. Balancing discussions about issues with expressions of gratitude and affection is essential to maintaining emotional intimacy. In the modern age, communication has taken on new forms, including texting and social media interactions. While these methods make it easier to stay connected, they can also lead to misunderstandings if not used mindfully. Text messages lack tone and facial expressions, making it easy to misinterpret intentions. A simple "okay" can be read as passive-aggressive when it was intended as neutral. This is why it is crucial to supplement digital communication with face-to-face conversations whenever possible. Video calls and in-person discussions allow for a deeper emotional connection, ensuring that messages are conveyed with clarity and sincerity. Ultimately, effective communication is a continuous process of learning, adapting, and growing together. Each person has a unique way of expressing themselves, shaped by their past experiences, culture, and personality. Understanding and respecting these differences makes communication more effective and meaningful. In a long-term relationship, communication must evolve to reflect changes in both individuals' needs and circumstances. What worked in the early stages of a relationship may not be sufficient years later, which is why ongoing effort is necessary. By making communication a priority, individuals can build relationships that are not only strong, but also deeply fulfilling. Trust and honesty serve as the foundation of any strong relationship, providing the stability and security needed for a deep and lasting connection. Trust is not something that develops overnight. It is built through consistent, reliable actions that reinforce a sense of dependability and faith in one another. When partners feel that they can count on each other, whether in moments of joy or difficulty, The relationship